It was a landmark event on Friday for the Labour Party family as they ultimately found the final piece in their jigsaw ahead of next year's presidential election. But what about the All Progressives Grand Alliance, which produced Peter Obi as governor of Anambra State? Has the party in any way progressed beyond its political gains in the southeast of Nigeria after 23 years of existence? And what plans does it have going into the next elections? Well, we are now being joined by Senator Victor Umeh, a former national chairman of the All Progressives Grand Alliance and one-time senator for Anambra Central in the National Assembly. Good morning. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning from Abuja and Baraka de Salah.
Baraka de Salah to you too. Good to have you join us. Well, let's start this way. You were chairman of APGA, and of course, your good self and former Governor Peter Obi played a major role in making APGA a force in the southeast of Nigeria. But today, Governor Obi is out of APGA. He's also out of PDP, where he went after he left APGA to run as the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. Your good self, after about 17 months in the Senate between 2017 and 2019, now you are also out of APGA, I believe, and you are trying to return to the Senate through the Labour Party. So it looks like you have gone to join your former ally, Governor Peter Obi, in Labour Party. Do you think that, where does this lead you? And is this a way to show those that worked against your primary election in APGA to basically show them that you will see what happens? I have reunited with Governor Peter Obi, and it is Labour Party that will control the levers of power within the Southeast. Is that the situation?
Well, thank you very much, Steve. You know that one thing that is constant in life is that you keep moving towards the things that will engage your time meaningfully. Like you said, Mr. P2B, both of us started from the All Progressives Grand Alliance in the year 2002. In fact, before the registration of the party, both of us contributed towards the registration of the party starting from 2001. And when the party was registered in 2002, we were part of it and started the first journey there politically for Mr. P2B. In 2001, when he came, he wanted to be governor of Anambra State. That was when he came to see me, and looking around the political situation then, we knew that there would be a lot of challenges ahead. So we decided to pitch our tents with the effort to register a new party, so that at least we'll be able to get a nomination to contest the election. That was how we got involved in the registration of APGA. And when we achieved that registration, I became the first candidate of the party in the governorship election in 2003 in Anambra State. So we pursued that as mission together, and we were able to win. When we won the election in 2003, we were denied victory. The election was manipulated and rigged. But because we had sufficient results to prove that we won, we headed to the tribunal. And from there, we stayed on till 2006 for him to get final victory at the Court of Appeal. He won at the tribunal, the other side appealed, and on the 15th of March 2006, the Court of Appeal upheld the judgment of the tribunal. And that was how Mr. Obi appeared in the scene as executive governor of Anambra State on 17th of March 2006. So it wasn't an easy journey, and we did so much together to turn Anambra State out of the doldrums, because at the time he came like a prophet. He was asking Anambra people the question, are we caused or are we the cause of our problems? You know, and he was relatively unknown in the politics of the state. He wasn't a politician at all. So he was dismissed outrightly, and more so when he became the candidate of APGA, a party that was just newly registered and had nothing on ground. But with a very resilient spirit, we went through that struggle and we were able to remove PDP that was very ubiquitous on ground at that time. So from that period of 2006 till now, APGA has remained in Anambra State, controlling that state as a party. So now that from what you said, Peter moved on, I stayed behind helping to defend that party. And up to last year, when we won the governorship election through Charles Soludo, professor, as our candidate of APGA, we had done that. And if you look at the span, of course, Mr. Obi left before me to the PDP in 2014. I stayed behind trying to protect that party. Sometimes we were pitched against each other in campaigns and so on and so forth. But, you know, everything is planned by God. It is not by just sheer coincidence that when we won the governorship election last year for APGA, and I tried to go back to the Senate, where my people wanted me to continue to do my effective representation for them. Suddenly, at the primary, I didn't get the ticket of the party to be their candidate. And I don't want to go to what happened that made it like that, because that one is gone now. Mr. Obi decided to run for president, and as somebody I know what he can do. Even before the primaries, I had started following his activities, seeking to contest for president through the PDP. And when he resigned, I was one of the first people that spoke on Arise News TV to commend his quitting the PDP, because he had no chance there at all, looking at the shenanigans playing out at that place. So when the primary came for me on the 28th of May, and the results came out that I lost by 11 votes, the next day he called me. And that's how God works. After being apart with him for 10 years, and myself haven't stayed 20 years in APGA, from 2002 to 2023, it's 20 years. So I felt I've contributed my quota there. And with Mr. Obi now going to run for president, I believe that God wanted us to start again the way we did in 2001, 2002, when he came to run for governor. And that's how I accepted his invitation, joined the Labour Party. And the primary was ahead for the Labour Party, so I took part in the primary and got their ticket. So now everything is clear now, and we are together in his pursuit of this greater challenge in Nigeria to provide quality leadership to this country. So because I know him very well, and I believe in his capacity to do what he has set out to do now, the way he did it in Anambra State, we are on the beat. That's where we are. So the old surgeon can be put behind. What is important now is the greater challenge of doing everything that we can to help rescue Nigeria. Because the way he came in 2001 in Anambra State, when Anambra State was known for all the bad things in Nigeria, you know, at that time nobody would want to say, no, I come from Anambra State. He came and turned everything around, you know, put everything on reverse. He was able to redeem the state. He rescued the state. So it is the same thing that's happening in Nigeria today, that things have fallen apart again, and he has gotten the nomination to contest for presidency. I believe that it is God that is directing this movement, so I'm happy to be part of it. We are together, going to give him all the support, and all Nigerians have taken him as the person who will do this work. Because the way he has been saying it everywhere, what the problems are in Nigeria and the things that need to be done to rescue the country, was the way he did it in Anambra State in 2001. Are we caused, or are we the cause of our problems? So Nigeria today needs a total change and overhaul of its systems to be able to redirect the affairs of the country.
All
Right, that's why we're together
Umeh.
now.
Are you saying, just so we understand correctly, that your decision to join the Labour Party was informed solely by Peter Obi's presence? So basically, if he was not a member of the party, would you be interested in it? That's the first question. And of course, Peter Obi has declared Dati Baba Ahmed as his running mate. Could you speak to an informed perspective around this choice? And how collective was this decision within your party?
Yes, if Mr. B wasn't nominated as presidential candidate of the Labour Party, there wouldn't have been any need for me to move over, because what will bring you along into a program will be the tasks to be performed. So I identified his interest to run for president as a noble interest, something that should be supported by all well-meaning Nigerians, because he has something to offer. Now we are at the stage where we've been trying to put things together. Yesterday, here in Abuja, his presidential running mate, his vice presidential candidate, was unveiled. And if you saw how the thing played out, you will now know that this is somebody who has a sense of mission for Nigeria. At the time the nominations were filed to INEC, he hadn't found somebody he would partner with to be able to present effective leadership to this country. The search for a vice president was on, vice presidential candidate was on, and time was running out. We had to put his director general of his campaign organization, Dr. Doyin Okupe, because there is window for substitution allowed by the INEC timetable and all that. So that search continued. And you can now see that God has been part of this journey. How do I get somebody for you who will help you reason like you, who will work with you for the good of Nigeria? Somebody who is capable, somebody who is qualified, and somebody who will be in a position to contribute to the well-being of Nigeria through the execution of these important programs that they envisage. So yesterday, Senator Dr. Yusuf Dati Ahmed came on board, and Nigerians celebrated, because looking at him, you very easily will agree that this is somebody who is a perfect choice for that office. Well prepared, well educated, grounded to play the role of vice president. In other words, when Mr. Peter Obi is not available, this one will stand in and do the work until Peter Obi returns. So, and looking at the pair, two of them, Nigeria cannot get a better team for that position in 2023. Both of them are young people. Mr. Obi is 60 years. The other one, Dati Ahmed, is younger. So these are people who still have long stake in the project called Nigeria. They still have a lot of years ahead of them. So the way they will tackle the issues facing Nigeria will be different from those we have seen in the other two major political parties. They have energy, they have the headroom to be able to work. They are well qualified in all perspectives. They have global experience. Their trainings span across the globe. So what else will Nigeria be asking for than to give them a chance to take the reins of government and begin to do those things they have been saying? Mr. Obi had said so much that has mobilized, that have mobilized the whole country behind him. Because the way he said in 2001 in Anambra State, are we cost, are we the cost? Mr. Obi has been pointing out the failings of this nation, the things we've been doing that are not good, and the things to do to change it. So what we are looking for now is the real change, not the change the APC promised. Because before 2015, APC promised change, and people wanted change. And when they got into that trap, we now saw that things have gotten worse than they were before the APC came. So this is the real change that the people are yearning for. And if you listen, you see the indices used to show that Nigeria is indeed at the brink. The country is about going under economically. So we need people who have the capacity to bring Nigeria from the economic quagmire to an era of prosperity. Let's see, from their background, you have every hope that this thing will work. Mr. Peter Obi is a very prudent manager of resources, and that's what Nigeria is lacking. We don't manage our resources well. We've not deployed our God-given resources well. Our earnings have been frittered away through mismanagement and corruption. And this is somebody who says he's allergic to spending money wrongly, and I know him for that. When I met him in 2001, I knew Mr. Obi that what will make you his friend will not be money, the amount of money you get from him. So he's somebody who has money, but he doesn't spend money frivolously. So, and that's what Nigeria needs now. Let us stop this story of carrying the money we have to provide the needs of the Nigerian people. People will divert the funds and put us in disarray. If you look at Nigeria as a business, Nigeria has the worst balance sheet anybody can think of. You know, any money you get is finished. It's not plowed back into any productive activity that will help the citizens get better life. If you look at Nigeria as a business or what at the international scene, we have the worst balance of payments any country can have. You know, we import everything, we don't produce anything. And it is one in economics, at least in my early days in the university, that a country that has a huge balance of payment problem will not survive. You must be able to produce enough so that when you import, what you are producing will be able to sustain you and keep your economy afloat. So Nigeria is a dumping ground. Anything you produce in China or anywhere, you bring it to Nigeria and you don't send anything out. Unfortunately, the oil that we have, God gave us in Nigeria, in the Niger Delta, that oil is a Western asset, is something that will finish someday. And there's no effort being made by successive governments to diversify the economy of Nigeria. It's Mr. Peter Obi who is now showing the way to diversify the economy. He's talking about agriculture, how to convert the large expanse of lands available to Nigeria into farming. You know, because a lot of things will come from it. When you farm and produce things from the farm, you can process them through establishment of processing industries that will create employment. Everything about proper investment in agriculture will lead to prosperity. That's what he's saying. But here we're depending solely on oil. Once the oil is sold, we come at the end of every month to share what is called the FAC, Federal Allocation and this committee. Once you come here, anyone the state comes to take, they go and spend and wait for another month. We've not seen any effort to diversify the economy of this country. And Peter is preaching against it. He has traveled around the world because the way you know somebody who is prepared for leadership is that if there are other countries that are doing things that are working, you go there to learn, find out what they are doing. Peter has gone to about 31 countries of the world, and all the emerging countries that are doing very well economically, he has visited them to see how they have been taking care of their problems. Nigeria has very debilitating power challenge, and he went to Egypt the other day, he came back and made a report. So he's somebody that if you put him on the job, he knows what to do. He has seen what others do, and he wants to replicate them in Nigeria.
All right, Senator.
His running mate is somebody who has been an anti-corruption fighter. You know,
all right, Senator Umeh, let me,
Dr. Dati Ahmed.
Let me come in there, if you don't mind, please.
With the level of profligacy in this country, the leakages we have, he's been speaking against them. You know,
Senator, you've made that point clearly, Senator.
Our public resources.
Can you hear me?
And all that. So we now have somebody who is pairing with a visionary leader who knows the things that we need to do, the way to allocate our resources, both in education, healthcare, and so on and so forth. So if you don't have a president that knows what to make you have a prosperous country, there's nothing you can expect from him. Mr. B yesterday said the 17 SDG goals they're going to implement it in Nigeria, and he knows what he's talking about. Because in Anambra State, he implemented MDG, Millennium Development Goals in Nigeria. I mean in Anambra State, and it worked for him. So that's the issue. So we pray that Nigerians will give these two gentlemen a chance to begin to put everything in reverse. Because we don't produce anything, our money is very weak. Naira is very weak. It's heading to 700 Naira. What are you going to do to bring your money back to value, to be a strong currency? $1 is 620 Naira in the parallel market now. So who will solve these problems? Nobody is telling us that they will do it in APC or the PDP. So this is the change we are looking for. And these two gentlemen have the knowledge to complement each other and pull Nigeria out of the brink. So that is it. And we urge everybody to begin to see the mission more important than analyzing political scenarios. Because
that's understood, Senator Umeh.
People talk.
Let me just quickly come in there.
Yes.
Can you hear me, please?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I would like you to. Okay. Thank you. I would like you to. I mean, you've made valid points about what qualifies former Governor Peter Obi, as a new voice in trying to make a difference in Nigeria's next election. But then let us properly dimension and dissect its electability. You know that this is a gentleman who does not control any state as we speak now. Labour Party does not have, any state with a governor. No state in Nigeria. And the powers of sitting governors when it comes to election, mobilizing, delivering for their party. My question to you, one, is how do you think that what the current chairman of APGA, Victor Oye, said might affect the chances of Peter Obi, and by extension, maybe even your own chances as a senatorial candidate? Of course, that he said without him returning to APGA, that it's not likely that Governor Peter Obi, will make any headway politically. It was on PDP, ran as running mate to former Vice President Atiku, didn't succeed. Now is in Labour. Secondly,
I don't want.
Go on. Go on, please. Go on.
I should continue.
Yes, please continue.
Yes, I don't want to be dragged into. Pedestrian statements or conversations. Victor, I handed over the party to him in 2015. He's not in a position to declare or decree who will succeed in his political pursuits. It's only God that gives power, not Victor. So that reckless statement he made, I don't want to join issues with him on that. We are focusing on the mission of rescuing Nigeria. And I, myself, who started the journey of APGA in Anambra State, can tell you, I'm in the position to tell you the strength of Mr. Peter Obi in management and in the husbanding of resources. He does not know. He didn't know him. So to that extent, as even his predecessor in office, I want to use this opportunity to cancel that his statement that it was unnecessary and misguided. So Peter has nothing against him achieving his mission in Nigeria. And that is why Nigerians are following him all over the place. Nigerians identify
that's good.
He has
Senator Umeh, that's okay. Sorry, I also have to cut in now. You made that point, and it sounds to me like you are making a good case for former Governor Peter Obi, which is fine. But then Nigerians will also be interested in knowing if there has been any resolution to the issues that you had with him while he was, after he left APGA. You had clear issues with him over, Obiano. There were several other things that you fought with him, about. Have you sufficiently reconciled? And those issues, have they been trashed out for you now to have realigned with him, you're in the same party with him, and then now you are now campaigning for him. Nigerians would love to know if all those issues are now clear.
Yeah, yes. It was easy for Mr. Obi to call me at this point. He was beginning his journey to run for president of Nigeria because he knew that I had no problem with him. I stood by him and defended him and his government, very strongly for the period we worked together. And he knew that we didn't have any serious issue, except that people who are mischief makers came in to divide two of us in 2012, 2 years after we had achieved a second term in office for him. And our disagreement wasn't about anything except that at that point I was insisting that local government elections should be conducted in Anambra State as the national chairman of the party, where my party people had been desirous that this election should take place. So some people went to tell him that Victor Umeh will not tell you what to do. You are the governor. Assert your authority and your powers. So they misled him. That's how the little sleep we had. And from there, one small thing led to another. And in trying to suppress me, the thing got into a very serious leadership crisis in the party. At the end, I prevailed through the courts. So that was all. We didn't have any, we didn't quarrel because I didn't believe that he was doing well for Anambra State. No, it was just a political problem created by people who were not around when I was working very hard with him to establish the party and pull the Anambra State of Nigeria out of its economic malaise and leadership malaise. So this is what you see. When you do things with people and succeed, scavengers will come. They will stay by the corners looking in. As soon as they see a way to enter, they will penetrate. They will penetrate, and that's what they did. So after 10 years of being apart, my brother knew I had nothing against him. Even without being with him again, when he started this is the presidential bid, I was speaking on television programs emphasizing that Peter is the type of person Nigeria needs. I wasn't working with him, I was in APGA. So that is the truth. And in terms of reconciliation, we didn't call any meeting to reconcile because there was no problem between two of us. All the things we said when we were apart were political things, everybody trying to defend his own position. You want your party to win, I want my party to win. And we were doing that. But inwardly, two of us knew our strengths, we knew our respect for each other. And when he called me up on this one, I moved to go and support his mission. So we don't have any problem. We didn't call any reconciliation meeting. This thing happened over a telephone call. I didn't even see him until I came to Abuja 2 weeks after.
All right.
All right,
so,
Senator.
nothing like that.
All right, Senator Umeh, we understand you, and it's good to hear that all is well in your camp. Many thanks for joining us this morning.